of Education to order. This time we need to adopt a final agenda. You guys have in front of you a copy of the final agenda, one addendum or one change that we need to make to it on the curriculum, instruction, and accountability discussion and action on 22-23 comprehensive progress plans for the schools that are here tonight. That needs to be removed. We will allow for a period of public input and then approve in November. So can I get a motion to approve the agenda with that change? Motion by Mr. Coleman, second by Mr. Long. Any further discussion? All in favor of said motion, let it be known by the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We have an approved agenda. You also have attached with your information the minutes from our September 12th, 2022 meeting. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
So move.
Motion by Dr. Strickland. Second by Mr. Long. Any discussion? All in favor of said motion, let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Public comments? No public comments. Special presentations and recognition.
We have several that we'd like to do this evening. Our first one is going to be in recognition of our principal at Acme Delco Elementary School, Miss Christy Lenthal. She was nominated by one of her teachers, and she is a recipient of the North Carolina Arts Education Association Friends of the Arts. And she is going to or you've already been to the Arts Conference. It's at the end of this month.
On October the 30th.
Okay. To be recognized there as well. So we'd like to say congratulations and thank you for your support of the arts program. Board members, we need you to have your picture taken with Miss Lenthal. You might want to just set that up here while we don't have a presentation, and then we can move it back. Just come up here and stand. Come up here and face that way for pictures. Yeah. Smile, smile. Congratulations. Thank you, Miss Lenthal.
Fellas, if you will.
You might as well just stay out here.
If you will, just stay up here. Just stay up, if you would.
All right, so the next award is, we want to recognize volunteers every month. It takes the entire community to make sure that our students are successful. And so we've asked each school to think about who has been volunteering in their school for the last month that they would like to recognize and thank them for their service within their schools. So we have schools that have recognized people. And so we have from Acme Delco, we have Adriana Mosley and Angela Sutton. Are they here?
That's our commitments. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's all right. We from Chadburn Elementary, we have Jabari Dorsey and Jameer Dorsey. Are they here? All right. From East Columbus, we have Brenda Benson and LaShanta Godfrey. Nope. Okay. From Hallsborough Artesia, we have Aaron Marlowe. There are people back there. I thought they were here for this reason. From Old Dock, we have Brittany Lagunas and Amy Ward. From Tabor City School, we have Ashley McFadden. West Columbus School, the Cherry Grove Baptist Church, and Morgan Pierce. From West Columbus High School, they're all at the schools volunteering tonight, it looks like. Jeff Axelberg and Vinay Mehta. And from Williams Township, Jason Worley and Jeff Godwin. Well, we want to thank them, and hopefully it'll get out to them how much we appreciate it. No, we'll have one more. If I'm hoping he's here.
Well, they're here.
So-
They're just finishing their games. We don't have to wait here. They just finished the municipal soccer game.
Okay, well, we'll hold it till he comes. How about we do that? Okay, we'll come back to that once he arrives. All right.
Give you an hour to put.
All right, so
All right.
that takes us to the progress plan presentations.
Yep, so these are our remember that we have our schools, our principals present their school improvement plans every year. So we will have 4 each month. We have 4 tonight, and they will present their school improvement plan for this school year. You won't approve it tonight because they will have to be posted for public comment. We have to do 30 days of public comments. The ones from November also will be posted for public comment now, and they will be approved in November. But we figured we'd split them up so that you didn't have 12 in one night or 11 in one night.
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to start with Acme Delco Elementary, Ms. Lenthal and her staff. Ms. Parker and Ms. Daniels are here with her.
Yes.
And if you'll have a seat or sit where the public can hear you online from the microphone.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Okay, so I believe in your package you should have a handout that I sent in that gave you basically a brief summary of our entire school improvement plan for this coming year. So if you would like to take it out and refer to it, kind of follow along with us as we go. I'd send it up. If not, you do have the comprehensive plan in its entirety to go through as well. So we're going to take just a few minutes and discuss basically, and over the last year to 2 years, we're still trying to come out of some of our COVID issues, so to speak. I decided, along with our school improvement team, that instead of making a 1-year school improvement plan, we did an overarching 3-year plan because there was no way we could feasibly see growing enough to meet our goals for 1 year. So what we decided to do was have a 3-year plan, and we're very excited to say that the first year of our plan was last year, and we met all our goals for that one, as well as the big thing there is we met growth in both areas, so we're very, very excited for reading and math and our school as a whole. Now, we did maintain our same letter grade, which was a letter grade of a D, which puts us 4 points away from a C. So in our current plan, if we do another 5 to 7 points this year, that'll put us well up into a Category C school, and that is our goal at this point in time. And so as far as that's concerned, we've got several things that we've been doing to try and go ahead and raise these standards so these students can achieve and excel. That includes many things with our staff as well as our students. And so with that being said, if you see on the very back of that page, which is on the second page, I believe.
Yep, just scroll up, John.
Okay.
Scroll it with your hand.
One finger.
One finger.
Fancy.
Yeah.
We have moved up in the world.
And the overarching goal is the one that is in the middle. And that's kind of best repeats what I have said already to this date. And then obviously go back and hit our vision and our mission statement. And obviously we can't do this without everybody being on board and working together as a team to include our students and our staff and family community partners. So at this point in time, I'm going to turn over. We're going to talk about each of our goals. And I'm going to let Ms. Parker start out with goal number 1.
Goal number 1, if you want to scroll back, we're going to look at goal number 1.
Okay, now you know who you're working with.
This one's going to focus specifically on math. Each grade level will achieve 7 to 10% growth. I'm sorry, not math, but reading. Each grade level will achieve 7 to 10% growth in reading by the end of the 2022-2023 school year. Some ways that we're going to do this is that we are going to teach our core reading program, which is Into Reading with Fidelity. We're going to use our supplemental programs, Reading Horizons and Amplify, and our upper grades have Elevate. We are going to continue our participation in our letters training. We have begun to implement our blended learning in our classrooms. We have small group instruction, which we use our M-Class, our classroom assessment, our benchmark assessment data, which we identify tiers and we form our groups. And we also use that to form intervention groups. We have other resource teachers, and we have volunteers, and we have our interventionists. They also come in and help pull groups with us. And so we are really targeting those deficiency areas that we see based on M-class and some of our ready data and our upper grades to focus our interventions.
And piggybacking on that, talking about our interventions, we're going to be talking about is math as well. As we know, we've placed a very high priority on reading the past 2 years. This year, we know that we met growth in math, but it wasn't by a good margin. So at this point in time, we've already adjusted to change our interventions to include at least up to 2 math interventions per day, if in addition to our reading interventions. Because what we were doing this past year was working. And so by adding all the extra interventions, even going down to one-on-one students if we need to, or small groups of students of 2 to 3, it is working. We saw the students moving. So we're going to stick with our plan. We're going to keep going with it, adding in an extra component for some math. So with that, we're going to address that by also, once again, teaching our core program into Math with Fidelity, our supplemental programs, iStation and iReady, and using the data from that to form, also our small group interventions there as well, what they need, what their needs are. We're going to also include that in again with our tiering of students, tier 2 through your 3, and making sure they're following through our MTSS process, providing interventions for them on different levels. And then also making sure that our intervention blocks have been implemented, and we have those implemented currently, and they are already working. And so on that side, just to kind of add a little something there, is we've been analyzing our data already so far since the beginning of the year, and we are seeing a great growth trend between 1st grade to 4th grade. And so we're very, very, very excited. And you say, well, what about the other grades? Well, I still have things to fix. We can't fix it all at one time. So we're going to move on for there to see if we can get that 4th blended into 5th and 6th too. And obviously kindergarten getting ready for 1st grade. So those, if I had to say areas of concern, yes, they are, but I think we're going to make them stronger before it's all said and done. We're going to also make sure that our PRCs are in place, and we do those religiously, and we are already, as well as classroom walkthroughs, observation conducted by administration to include myself as well as my instructional coach, Ms. Daniels. And then peer observations. We have started that process of letting other teachers watch other teachers so they can share ideas, especially our newer ones that may be struggling when they first start. And we're actually getting ready to implement some of ours to go to a different school and watch some things there. We've already taken in some from other schools to make that happen. So we want to make sure we're giving them every advantage we can and everything that they can put in their tool belt to help them. And then at the same time, we're going to also stick with our small group instruction. As I mentioned earlier, that's major. We can see we get the most movement when we do small groups a lot of the times with the students. And then also make sure we're monitoring our data trackers. And that's something that we've done in all our PLCs so far. We've gone back and got last year's data trackers, started them in for this year, so that way we can see how much growth we've had maybe over the summer. If there's been some that has stayed the same, some that have slipped, something we need to come back in and reinvent to begin with the MTSS process can move forward. So that being said, as you can see, we're very concentrated academically at this point in time, and that's what we want to continue with because we want to continue to see these students grow. But we can't have students grow without the help of some very important partners, and that is our parents. And so that's going to lead straight to our goal number 3. Ms. Daniels?
Okay, so goal number 3 is parent involvement goal. This is a goal that we have put in place to go for over the 3 years. So this goal reads, we will increase parental involvement by 5% per year from 2021 to 2022 school year to the end of 2023-2024. Okay, so how are we planning on improving our parent involvement? Of course, we got the CCS app that everyone is using. We're all using Remind, but something new that we're putting in place this year is a parent volunteer orientation. So we have a parent orientation coming up for the volunteers that are approved from the board. They'll come in, we'll tell them a little bit about what we're expecting and what our mission and our vision is at Acme Delco. We'll also give them a chance to fill out an interest sheet so that they can decide what they want to do and how they want to do it, because lots of times you have parents come in, you don't want to put them in an area that they really don't feel comfortable doing. So we just want to make sure that we're working with them and collaborating and doing things that will help them help us. Also, we're doing some parent surveys this year. We haven't done this in the past, but we are pushing out some surveys just to see how parents feel and see how we can better get them involved. Just like tonight, for example, we have all these parents that we really wanted to recognize and we really wanted to celebrate them tonight, but unfortunately they were not able to be here. So just making sure we're making those connections so that we understand why they can't come and that we can hear their voice, like they are part of what we're doing at Acme Delco Elementary. Also, we're doing parent-teacher conferences. We're always doing those. I've seen several going on already this school year. We've got our Title I parent night. We have our awards day. We get a lot of parents come out for that. Columbus County Schools are doing the Parent Academy, which is coming up next month, I think. So we're really excited about that. We're also going to have Mr. Inman come in and kind of help with our parents who don't speak English. So we're going to try to have Mr. Inman there to help them understand what we're presenting to them. Also, we have our PTO. Last year when we came, they weren't quite active yet, but they are active now. We finally got that up and going. And so we're really excited about that. However, our president, she has some medical issues, and so we lost her, but we're still up and we're working and really excited about that. Of course, we're still doing progress reports to communicate with parents of how their students are doing and also the report cards.
It's really fast.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. So at this time, just coming back to you guys, if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer any questions you may have and talk you through any of this process if there's something that we need to clarify.
I appreciate what you're doing. Do you ever use student self-assessments?
We haven't yet, but we did with some of our guidance tools last year.
Okay.
So that's something we're actually getting into the survey of making everything more
It's a work in
meaningful and giving
progress.
students buy-in. So I agree, we do need to do those.
Okay. Thank you.
How are you going to measure parent involvement?
We are actually going to be taking pretty much attendance of everything that we're going to be doing, okay? Whether it's going to be a virtual meet of some type, or whether we're going to try to mainly house in-person meetings as much as possible this year. And the reason for that is because we get them there and they see what's going on, they get to participate in what we're doing. We're actually going to be looking at, along with our Parent Academy, we're going to show them, the programs the kids are using and how they can help use them at home too at the same time. And in conjunction with that, we're going to also host a night prior to that we're going to have an RTA night for third grade to where the parents can understand it, because that's a big pivotal year for third grade students. So each time we meet, we're going to keep a record of who's there. There's going to be a sign-in. There's going to be a way for us to kind of track what's going on, because we can tell you the difference between 2 years ago to this current year so far as the trend, because we have seen a growth trend, not as much as we want. We want more, because we got 315 students. We should have more than half of those parents helping us.
Agreed.
So that's our goal to reach for.
Okay.
Did you keep the numbers last year and the year before for those?
Yes.
So you have the base data?
Yes, we started our baseline with about 114 parents, and like she said, we've got this year 315 students, so we definitely hope to see more parents coming in and getting involved with the things that we're putting in place.
And we're actually seeing a rise right now in our parent volunteers as well. I think to this day we have 22, and we just got finished setting up, I think, 5 more. And then we had 2 more come in today, so we're going to capitalize on using our parents to come in to help us, whether it's with interventions or whether it's to help with an activity, like Ms. Daniel said, what they want to do that will help them feel a part of our community and part of our school.
Any other questions, board members? All right. Thank you, Ms. Lenthal, Ms.
Thank
Parker,
you.
Ms.
Thank
Daniels.
Thank you, ladies.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we're going to hear from Mr. Falk at East Columbus Junior Senior High. And Ms. Williamson, looks like. You got it. No, I think they only had that one.
Good evening. My name is Jamie Falk from East Columbus, and I have with me our School Improvement Chair, Ms. Tara Williamson. Before I get started, I would like to say, on behalf of the students, staff, East Columbus parents, we are very appreciative of the vote that you guys did last year for our new doors. I'm really excited about the new system that's going to be put in place. It has made a difference already, just in a feeling of safety and security. So I want to start out the conversation by saying thank you to the central office staff and the Board of Education for making that happen. So we started out this process last year in May when we did the MTSS FAMS, the facilitated self-assessment of our MTSS process. We met over the summer, and then we completed the needs assessment going into the school improvement process. And what we have determined is that we have good systems in place. We just need to use more fidelity and actually strengthen the programs that we have. You know, using the data sources that we have. The district has done a great job in creating uniformity, you know, having data trackers using the same language, the same textbooks across the county. We have great data sources. We decided we needed to use that information to create our, you know, strengthen our school improvement process. This year we're up for accreditation, and we have, you know, Cognia is an enormous process, the accreditation process going through. We're also becoming an ABIT school, which is a program, and ABIT stands for Achievement via Individual Determination. And so we have a lot of great things going, but that's a lot to do in one school year. So we decided to combine them all under one umbrella, the school improvement process, and use that to propel us into moving our school beyond, unfortunately, low performing, which, you know, we were designated last year. Our test results were not where we would like them to be. Our discipline numbers were not where we would like them to be, but we have learned that, you know, you jump into the data and then you make things happen based on the information that you have, the staff that you have, and getting everybody on the same page. So we're not discouraged. We're actually encouraged because we do have great resources at all levels, the school level, the district level. Our parents are really stepping up. Our advisory council met last week, and the feedback was powerful, important, and positive. So what you have is our comprehensive plan, and we just added individual strategies and action steps to what we already have in place. I feel that what we have created is strong. We just need to make sure that it's being monitored, that everybody is buying in, and that's at all levels. So I'm going to give you a brief description of our conversations for the last two or 3 months, because our school improvement team is devoted. We don't always have the prettiest meetings, but they're fruitful. By the end of it, we have left the meeting knowing that our voices were heard and that we are making a difference. So I feel confident in my staff that we can make this happen, and this time next year we'll be having a different conversation. So that being said, we wanted to focus on our discipline, not only the referrals themselves, but the trends in those referrals. What are we looking at? You know, what time of day are they happening? What time of year? What kind of referrals are happening? How do we respond to them? You know, if we could sum up everything, we want to be proactive and leave reactive behind, so that we can start to see when things are going to proceed. So that's been joined in. We've added that to our school improvement plan. The administration, the teachers, we talk about it at PLCs, as we should, determining, you know, why are these things happening and where are they happening and how do we keep them from becoming an overall issue. The PBIS process in middle school, making sure that we're teaching the behaviors that we like, we're monitoring, or that we desire, we're monitoring the behaviors, and that all teachers are buying into the same expectations. I think that's what we have found, that if teacher A is doing one thing and teacher B is doing another, so we talk about these things in our faculty meeting, we talk about these things in our PLC. Data, we have plenty of data. You know, we have our data trackers, we have our rating information, EOG, EOC data, because we are going into the accreditation process. The high school principals have decided to use the Elliott Walkthrough, which is the actual instrument that Cognia uses for this year, because that's what it gives us viable information to use. We will be administering parent surveys fairly in the next 3 weeks. teacher surveys, student surveys, and then, of course, we have a valuable instrument, the teacher working conditions survey. So we're using that throughout the year to address major concerns that were brought up by the instrument. So we are aligning our goals with the teacher working conditions survey. You know, when it comes to how students respond to discipline, we actually get in there and talk about how these things are affected by different aspects of the school. Our Title I planning and budget, we're tying it back to our goals. We're tying it back to both performance, expectations. You know, Mr. McLam came out and did a presentation for us, and we're just trying to get all the resources that the county already has to offer. There's no reason to, pardon the expression, reinvent the wheel. We have the wheel, we just need to make sure it stays on the wagon and gets us where we need to go. So we talked about using our Title I money for teaching positions, ACT, and so this came up. We look at our data and our ACT data. You know, we have several students who are right there. You know, what extra help can we give them to push them over? We have too many, we call them bubbles throughout the years because they're so close. They can float up, they can float down. And so the process, I know I'm being overly long in my explanation, and I'll get to the point where you can ask me some questions, but I just feel that our school improvement process has more meaning this year. We actually are looking at the information that we have and making sure that our choices are our choices, not just mine or a few people with me, and that's made the process stronger. So to sum it up, AVID, MTSS, and the accreditation process is what we're using to guide us through this year in school improvement. We took the same goals we worked on last year because we're still pertinent, they're still important, and we just added extra strategies to them to beef up our process. So I talked a lot, and hopefully it meant something, but I'll be glad to ask any questions, answer any questions that you have based on what I've said and what you have in front of you.
Mr. Falk, you mentioned you're going through the school accreditation
Yes,
this
sir.
year. Is that school or is it district this time?
School.
So it's individual school, okay. Another question, you mentioned teacher survey, working condition survey. What percentage of your teachers actually did the survey last year?
100.
100, very good.
I have several.
Okay.
You mentioned in one of your goals about increasing student attendance. What's your, and you may not know it, so this is not a get you, but what's your chronic absenteeism rate at East?
Well, that kind of depends on the period sometimes, and so when I was doing the of us, I'll
Okay.
definitely get that information for you.
Okay,
The district was 25%.
right.
So,
Yeah, I knew we were high,
And I think
and
the high
up from
schools were
10% since prior to the pandemic, so. Title I money that you're talking about using for positions, will that be middle school or high school positions, or will it be?
It's a combination, so
Okay.
basically what we had to do because of allocation, there were some shortfalls with our staff, and so we voted to spend the money to keep working at our set level instead
Okay.
of losing a position. We really didn't add a position other than the middle school I-rated facilitator's position.
Okay. You're in a little bit different situation than any other school. You've got both,
Yes, sir.
and you've got both under the same administration. Do you have a separate school improvement team for middle school?
We have one team.
You have one
We
team?
have one team.
Okay. Your opinion, and I won't use it against you in a later point in life.
Okay.
Should you have a second?
As long as there's equal representation, and what we have changed something this year in that I have 2 assistant principals and one is basically over and the lead of each grade level.
Okay.
So then we have teacher representatives from those grade levels. We also have teacher representatives who teach both grade levels, high school and middle. So at this point, I think as long as the process is transparent and two-way, as long as the teams are talking to their representatives and they're speaking what they're being told at the general meetings, I think it's effective. If I hear otherwise, then we would have to adjust, because for 2 years we have worked to make this one school. You know, because
Understood.
that's the whole issue, is that, you know, we took 3 schools, combined them into one. And so we have been fighting that, you know, middle school, high school, middle school, high school. And so we're getting to a point where it's working, and so I don't feel that we need to go backwards at this point. We need to keep doing what we're doing and make sure that everybody's voice is being heard.
And that's a fair assessment that I hadn't even considered. My concern is just making sure our middle school students and our high school students both are getting everything that they need.
So to that end, we have worked really, really hard to get representation from middle school parents.
Okay.
To our advisory council, we added a lot of those this year. Our booster clubs, we have worked really hard to recruit those people. We're adding, student council is really thriving at our school, so we're adding a middle school student council piece to it. So we're trying everything we can to make sure that everybody gets a voice, regardless of which group they represent or who represents them.
Okay, thanks.
And Jamie, from what I'm understanding is, I think that the need, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the need for your middle school students and your high school students are very similar. Because I think that throughout the years, they've kind of, you know, they've blended in to where, I mean, it's the same. I mean, if you were going to improve the high school, it's going to blend over to the middle school as well. And yeah, I just wanted to thank you for the work that you're doing.
Appreciate it.
There's always room for improvement. There's always things there that we can do. But having your, you know, your middle school parents more involved in the booster club and the parent advisor, I think that's a great step in that direction. You know, with the increase in enrollment this year, especially at the middle school, you know, I think that's going to help us.
I do want to point out in some of our goals, we looked at our Swamp Chomp, which is our high school smart lunch program. And so the middle school teachers wanted to kind of emulate that with the intervention middle school. We have a block built in. And what usually happens is we spend a lot of time on the intervention piece, but the enrichment piece gets lost. So we want to make sure that we have those opportunities for those students as well. One big concern was that the high school was getting homecoming, the high school was getting all of these cultural, social things. The middle school was losing out. So we have teachers who have taken over, parents who have joined in, and so we are having those middle school things come back, because what usually happens, and I don't want to step on any toes with this, but especially at East Columbus, people point, why is Mr. Falk not making something happen? As other schools, the parents are jumping in and doing things. So I put it back on our parents, and they've responded well.
And that's one thing that people do not realize. Our parents do not realize that the things that are going on at the other end of the county, either at South or West or the other middle schools, is parent driven. The administrators are not driving this stuff, you know. And the last thing I'll say is, I just want us to make sure that we have teachers locking people in on Swamp Chomp, the kids that are struggling or behind, you know, and let's don't lose them in the gym or doing these other things they don't need to be doing. If they're struggling in math, make sure that our teachers lock them in, so they have to attend those, so they can.
So this goes back to monitoring the powerful programs that we already have.
Right.
So as like I said, we did our needs assessment. The faculty has been very honest in our surveys that as a group, we need to make sure that we're doing all the things that we said we were going to do. And I think that can sum up everything in our school improvement plan. We've said as a faculty, we're going to do these things, and we're going to hold ourselves to that bar that we've set.
Yep. And just like you said, if you're going to do, and you said it, so if you're going to do some type of intervention program in the middle school level, make sure you have something for your students that are not struggling.
And we've reincorporated PBLs
Okay.
project-based learning. We're getting those things back into the program. The teachers are excited. The students are getting excited about being able to do more than, okay, I get to be on iReady or Khan Academy or whatever is out there or if I don't like to read. You know, so students love it. Rigor is good. So like I said, we're taking what we have in place and we're making sure that we're monitoring with fidelity, and everyone is we're holding ourselves to what we said we were going to do. So
Mr.
sums
Walker,
up our school improvement.
I'm sorry. We know that Columbus County Schools and Southeastern has a great partnership. Some great things are happening, and so forth, and we want the best for our students. But as a high school principal at your school, do you see that the programs that we have a partnership with Southeastern, like early college, which I'm very familiar with, of course, and dual enrollment, is that hurting our CTE programs or hurting our arts programs?
I can't speak for every school. I
Yeah.
think we have very strong CTE programs, and right now the CTE teachers have been positive in their partnerships with Southeastern. So that's what I can speak to right now. I think our students are taking advantage of the programs that are offered to them.
Good.
And so we're making sure that we're monitoring access and also monitoring that the quality of what they're doing.
And and we want what's best for our students, we really do. So that was why I asked the question. So
As of right now, all the teachers have been positive on the CTE side.
The college is there to help increase offerings too. We're able to offer
Exactly.
more through the college now than we ever have before, even on our campus. So that's worked out well too.
Now, I will say, and this is probably countywide, probably statewide, but AP programs, arts programs, I started seeing it when I was a band director.
Right.
I had to be very, very creative. My students had to come back. We had to do like a fifth period where they would come back after school and take the classes in order, because there's only so much time during the day.
Right.
So, when you build up one program, especially at a small
it's going to
school,
pull the students from that.
then you're going to
program.
start to bleed from other programs. Just be very careful, and you have to just
Are you
make
still
sure.
able to offer that fifth period program or not? Is that not there anymore?
Some teachers, right now they're not, because we have new teachers in those situations who are rebuilding the program. I had to do a fifth period in order to keep my seniors.
Right.
Anybody else?
We want to recognize our, he came in, so while we have Mr. Falk up here, let's go back to our presentation from earlier. We want to recognize our 2022-2023 Beginning Teacher of the Year for Columbus County Schools, Austin Andrews from East. And he is one of our special ed teachers, and so I'm going to let Mr. Beck come to the microphone and share a little bit about Mr. Andrews.
Mr. Andrews has been with us for 2 years. He is very deserving of this recognition. The rapport that he has established with his students and the way that they respond to his instruction is just absolutely amazing. So he will represent us very well, and we look forward to many years of great things, Mr. Andrews. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's a lot of fun to go in his classroom and see him and the students interacting.
And if you will, wish him luck. He has a second part of this. He is the Columbus County Schools Teacher of the Year. But now he'll enter the next phase to actually contend for the NCAT Teacher of the Year. If he were to win there, he would get $5,000 in cash. He would get a 2024 Go Global North Carolina trip. And he gets instructional supply from the school. So just wish him luck, and his next time is November the 14th is when everything is due.
So we want to congratulate Mr. Andrews and thank him for his service to our students. And good luck. He was a little late from coaching, right?
I told him we'll let him pass because there's no vote.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Falk. Thank you, Ms. Williamson. All right, our next presentation is going to be from Ms. Spalding, the principal at Hallsborough Artesia.
Good evening. My name is Josephine Spalding, and I'm the principal at Hallsborough Artesia. My school improvement team chair was supposed to be here with me tonight, but she is sick, so I'm it tonight. I'm just going to start. I made some talking points about my plan. I know that you have a copy already of the summary, so I'm just going to talk about what we're doing and how. So the first thing, and it strikes me that you're already talking about attendance, because that's the first thing on our list of attendance. And our problem with attendance is not getting the students to come to school. They come to school in the mornings, but they check out early. So our issue was getting the children to not just to come to school, but to stay in school. And for some reason, our parents do a lot of checking out, especially in the afternoons on Thursdays and Fridays, huge checkout days, starting after lunch on Thursday and Friday. And it continues on until I implemented a few years ago a policy of not letting students be checked out after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. If I didn't do that, they'd be checking out until 3 o'clock, causing even more discourse in the school and disrupting the classes that are going on at that time. So that has been an issue for us for several years. So this year we decided, once again, we did this before probably, or something similar to it, 3 or 4 years ago, and we decided we needed to implement it again now, and that's if students get perfect attendance for a month, and that includes coming to school on time and staying for the entire length of the school day. Then at the end of the month, everybody's rewarded that has done that, and that has worked for us in the past, and we're going to try it again to try and get a handle on our kids that are being checked out and coming to school late in the morning. We did have to push some of these things up because we had a round of COVID last month, and teachers and students, it went through our building like wildfire, and we had a time. So some of our dates have had to be pushed up for things that we had planned to do last month we weren't able to do because of that. Fortunately, it has passed, and we're getting back to normal. The second thing that I wanted to talk about was data trackers and MTSS and our students. We're going to be using the county's data tracker still, and the information on assessments and so forth on our students will be in Google Drive and on our data trackers. And our MTSS student data will be there, and so those that are identified as Tier 1 or 2 students will be pulled for interventions and extra help. And to that end, we use some of our Title I money to hire 2 extra assistants this year and place them in first and kindergarten. And the effort is to give them an extra hand so we could do flooding again. And that was something that worked for our students and the teachers. Just before COVID came, we were starting to see a boost in our scores and in our students' abilities by doing flooding. What you're doing is putting an extra person in the classroom during the reading block and during the math block and during interventions if need be. And it's worked for us in the past. We started about 3 weeks ago. We can already see a difference in the kids and what they're able to do and their behavior. So I think it's going to be a really good thing and a good use of our Title I money as well. I opted for that instead of hiring another teacher. We felt like that would be more profitable and would reach more kids. It allows the assistants to go from class to class to class, so they're seeing a lot more kids and working with a lot more of our students. So I'm hoping that that's going to help catch them up to where they need to be, because we have so many that are far behind. And we're hoping to address it in that way. So our focus this year is going to be to come out of school improvement. We were a C school, and we dropped down into a D status, and so we want to get back to where we were. We're really close, only a few points off, and so we want to get back to that status and get back, at least back to where we were from COVID. And so we're also using positive behavior intervention and support, which is PBIS, and our model for that is to use Panther books, a Panther pack with the kids. And we have a Panther store that we're using for the children. They can earn Panther bucks from anybody in our building and take those and turn them around every few weeks and go to the Panther store and buy whatever they want out of the store. So our first big one, we've changed it up a little bit. We've had to alter a little from the beginning of the year, but now the kids are actually getting a bag of stuff. So they get a bag. It's either food or something instructional or candy. So they get to pick whichever one they want. And we're going to do that every few weeks until we can see how that's going to work. So we're excited about using PBIS. We've used it before, and we just changed around the way that we were doing it, hoping that it'll move into kids. The other thing is our school broadcast team. We've had to table broadcast. Our equipment was old, and it had to be replaced. So we're going to be using it again. Mr. Kelly Jones has been nice enough to help us with that. He came out to the school and trained us. We got all new equipment, which was awesome. Some of the grants that we got from the central office and from the county had help with that. And so we're hoping to get fully on by November the 1st. So our school broadcast is put on by our students. It's totally student-led. They learn how to use the equipment. They help put together whatever they're going to broadcast for that day. You can archive it and go back to it and all that. But we're really excited about that. It's been a while since it's been up and running, before COVID actually. So that's something that we're going to start also the 1st of November. So we're really excited about that. The children will be able to view the broadcast live over the smart boards in the mornings. So we think they're going to be really excited about that. And we're actually doing an application for them to be on the team. So they'll be able to earn that that one thing to get on. They'll be able to earn the right to be on there. So we think that also will be a good behavior point for them. Also, we're going to be using our outdoor classroom. We were able to do an outdoor classroom for our students this past summer. It was finished. They're already using it for some projects, for some project-based learning, and there are some students or some teachers that are doing some projects out there to extend that as well. So we're excited about that. They've already got stuff planted in the planters and doing some other things with it. And we're just waiting for some water to finish it up, but we're able to use it now while we're doing that. And I think that's about it. I think I've pretty much covered the basics. Unless, if you have a question, I'd be happy to answer it. If there's something I didn't tell you that you want to know, I'd be happy to tell you that as well.
Do you tend to see a higher degree of absences on Friday from the students who checked out early on Thursday?
No, not necessarily.
They're all back on Friday
They'll come
morning?
back to school, and our attendance rates usually it's in the 90s. It's always been good.
Yeah.
But just getting them to stay. The teachers are giving, for instance, on Fridays, they're giving tests, and parents are outside trying to check the children out before they can get finished.
Right.
And, you know, and we put it out there, we discussed it with parents and done different things to try to motivate them to keep them in school, but it is a struggle to keep them in school on Fridays for us. Being enough so that it's something we talk about all the time and try to come up with different things to address it. But
Do you have any parent volunteers helping in your school?
I'm sorry.
Have any parent volunteers helping within your school?
Some, yes. We have had some to help us with some of that, but I mean, it's been limited. And limited with our parent, because of COVID, a lot of our parent volunteers were older. And they've kind of waned off, so we're just getting back to that as well.
Any ideas how you can improve that this year?
We have reached out to them. We're actually getting ready to have a parent meeting at the end of this month. And we've invited everybody to come and kind of reached out to them to try to get them to come and join us. And we actually personally reached out to some of them to get them involved again and see if we can get them to come out and help. And that's one of the issues that we need some help with.
Do y'all have a organized PTO or?
We did, yes.
Do y'all have, do you have successful meetings with that? You know, trying to get, you know, people to come out and?
Sometimes. It depends on what's going on with games. I have a lot of students that are in game, you know, playing ball and all of that. I even feed them at times, do pizza, and I've gotten the students to do performances, hoping that would increase it. That did a little, but it's difficult in my area to get them to come out for that particular thing. Now, if I need help for something else, it's easy to get them to come out and help us do something, but for that particular thing, it's tough to get them to come out and get organized.
Have you considered, or do you track the number of and it's not truly an absence because they stay more than half the day.
Exactly.
But do you track the checkouts?
Yes.
And do you, and then in turn relate that to, performance?
And it does, yes, and it does affect it.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely does affect it. And I'd actually reach out to some of the parents. We do a checkout. We do identikit checkout and check in, and we're very diligent about that. When they pick them up, they have to check them out. You can't get them unless they do. And then we actually get you get a piece of paper with it when they check them out. The computer generates it, and you can easily count them and see what grade they were in just from that little piece of paper and log it. And there can be, I dare say, 25 to 50.
Wow.
On any given day, especially towards the end of the week.
Do you see
It's
it being
crazy.
Do you see it being the same kids, or is it just vary?
It varies.
So
It
it's
varies.
not
The time of
Johnny
the
was
month
out
makes a
every week,
difference. What time of year it is, if it's football season or baseball season, it's higher in the spring when it's warm, that kind of thing affects it. And we're kind of at a loss as to what exactly to do, how much can you do, because they were in school. I mean, they came to school.
They're counted as present for the day. So
it's hard.
Anybody else?
Thank you, Ms. Spalding. We appreciate it.
We do appreciate it, Ms. Spalding. Thank you.
All right. Our next one is Ms. Gerald for Nakina Middle School. She's got a team coming with her.
She brought the whole crowd.
Didn't expect anything else.
Oh, Jonathan.
While everybody takes their seat, this is my first time addressing the board as principal, and I just want to say thank you all for your vote of confidence in me to leave Nakina Middle School, and I do not take that challenge lightly. I greatly appreciate the opportunity and to be able to serve the community.
Well, I was going to ask Ms. Matthews a question while Jonathan's getting everything pulled back up. I think she's struggling hearing everything that's going on up here. Is there a way we could potentially move her closer? I know she keeps coming up and listening. Ms. Matthews, are you having a hard time hearing back there? Okay.
We'll try to make adjustments.
We'll get you closer for the next board meeting. Mm-hmm.
So I'll go ahead and introduce my team while we wait.
Yep, that'd be good.
So with me today, I have several of my staff. They are also part of my school improvement team. So over here I have Miss Alyssa Nelson. She is a 5th grade ELA and social studies teacher. To my left is Miss Tammy Cribb. She is our iReady lab manager. And this is Miss Ashley Morales. She is our EC teacher. And over here is Miss Kristen Wall. She is our guidance counselor. Okay. All right. So we will go ahead and we will get started. So first of all, as far as our school report card, we did see a decrease this year, and we moved to a school report card grade of a D this year. So we are a low performance school, and we did not meet growth. So as you can see, we do have our work cut out for us, but we do have a plan in place. Our school improvement team has already hit the ground running this year. We've already had several meetings, more than what is required of us, because we are very committed and devoted to making sure that we are implementing strategies for Nakina Middle School that are very specific to the needs that we see and that are going to help us to be able to reach our goal. So our first goal, well, first of all, let me just say this. As far as our school goal for the year, everybody has a common PDP goal that we have, and it's that Nakina Middle School's overall growth composite, composed of students meeting or exceeding expected growth, will increase as measured by our EVOS data with a positive growth index next school year. So what we are looking for is the growth. We want to be able to see our students grow, which we did not see last year, so we're going to take baby steps. And we know that it's going to take all of us coming together as a team to accomplish our goals. So we'll start with our first goal. Our first goal is that students will be provided with instruction that is both challenging and engaging in an effort to maximize student outcomes and students' academic growth. We're going to do this by incorporating several strategies, and we do have a pamphlet here for you if you would like to follow along as well. One of the first things that I was able to do as principal was some of the teachers had discussed they felt like they didn't have enough time in their instructional blocks. So remember I said baby steps. So 5th grade, we were able to move from 52-minute blocks to 80-minute blocks. For 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, they remain at 52 for this year until we can come in as a school improvement team and see where that we can increase that instructional time. But we are very proud to say we were able to work that out for our 5th grade teachers for this year. We also are going to make sure that we are incorporating and providing research-based instructional strategies in our classrooms that will provoke our student thinking. We will be being able to identify student misconceptions and implementing higher order questioning stems and strategies in the classroom to provide a more rigorous instruction. In our PLCs, we will have data-driven meetings where that we look at our students' data trackers, and we try to decipher and determine where the discrepancies lie and where our students are falling deficient. And we will build our intervention groups. We have something called student intervention time that is already built into our schedule at Nakina Middle School. It has been a part of that schedule for many, many years. However, this year what I'm doing differently is the teachers are providing me a list of the students that they have identified, and part of that we do in PLCs as to whom they are pulling why, and we are doing intentional planning to make sure that we are providing students with the instruction they need to help move them in reading and in math. We also are doing some training and professional development on blended learning and flipped classrooms. We've already had a math teacher who has implemented the flipped classroom, and she loves it, and the kids love it. Providing personalized pathways for student success, conducting the peer observations where the teachers will share coaching tips and strategies to teachers. We do hold, like I mentioned, our weekly PLCs and staff meetings, and it's a lot of times at the staff meetings when we are providing those professional development and training activities for our teachers. And those activities are also teacher specific, so the teachers have the option to come to me and voice to me what they need assistance in, or what they need more professional development in or training in, and we provide that. And the blended learning and flipped classroom is one of those examples. We will be utilizing our MTSS process to be able to make sure that we are providing that intense intervention for our students that have been identified. We also, this year, we have hired 2 Title I part-time tutors. They are 20 hours a week each, one for reading and one for math, and we hit the ground running. And they started with us in August. Well, one started in August and one started September the 1st. So we have already hit the ground running, and they have been pulling groups. They're pulling about 8 groups a day, working with those students. And we are already beginning to, make sure that we don't wait to start. We're starting now. We also, again, like I was talking about with the student intervention, so each teacher during that intervention time, they are pulling 30-minute groups. They also have the option to pull 2 20-minute groups, whatever they feel like works best for the group of students that they are working with. And then the second goal, I'm going to let Ms. Ashley Morales talk to you about our second goal.
Goal number 2, Nakana Middle School staff will establish and maintain a systemic culture of high expectations for students across all content areas through professional development that will support effective instructional practices. We will be doing this by peer observations. I think that's pretty awesome. Get to go in and see some different teaching techniques. There's always room to grow as a teacher. District curriculum coach, our PLCs, which will be able to throw instructional ideas and collaborate with each other. Teacher requested professional development, which Ms. Gerald just talked about, the blended learning and the flipped classroom. I think that's awesome to be able to have that opportunity to learn more at our request, something that we want to see more of or learn more of. That's a great opportunity. It's a big gain. Educator's handbook. That's our referral progress. We get to see referral progress for students. If there's an area that may be a trend for them, we can target that and maybe, find a new way to help that student so we don't have as many referrals. Classroom observations and walkthroughs. This is done routinely, and we get immediate feedback, which is beneficial for, us as the teachers. And goal setting for both the students and the teachers. We have our iReady board for our students, and which is awesome. They'll be able to see that display and watch as they climb and make that growth. And kids like a good competition, which is awesome.
All right, I'll move on to the third goal. So our third goal is that Nakana Middle School will regularly communicate with parents and guardians concerning students' academic progress towards meeting grade level standards, their growth status throughout the year, and community engagement opportunities. So this one is one that I feel like is extremely important because, one, we need to be transparent with everything that we're doing in our schools, and 2, it is our job to reach out to the community and to the parents to let them know what we need help with. A lot of times they say, hey, if you need help with this or that, let me know. How many times do we actually let people know when we need help? Not very often. So that is an area that we want to improve upon. So we will have 100% parental contact and conferences that occur every 9 weeks. The teachers will be required to turn those logs in to me at the end of the 9 weeks. It doesn't mean they got up with the parent, but it means that they made that attempt to make that contact. Multimedia messages, including remind messages to parents, the Columbus County Schools app, our Facebook. Ms. Julie Sellers is our social media person at our school. She does an outstanding job of putting things out on Facebook and letting parents know what's going on. This year, we have incorporated something new. It's called Mustang News. So we have a Mustang newsletter that goes out to the staff every Monday. Well, actually, it goes out Sunday night. And then we also have one that we post on our school Facebook page with upcoming events and just different things that are going on for parents, so everybody knows what's going on. And so we can also solicit their participation in the things that we have going on at the school. We are in the process of upgrading and updating, fixing our digital school sign so that we can also have information very readily available as parents and community members are passing by our school. We have also this year, we have made a parent information table and a parent information board near our office area, which makes it very easy for parents to stop by and pick up information. We do have our Mustang Club, which is our PTO, a booster club. I think when maybe it originated, it was probably more for athletics, but our Mustang Club this year has made it very clear they're not only about athletics, but they're about academics as well. We have pushed really hard to increase our Mustang Club membership this year. We have done an outstanding job. Our officers and our members, currently we're up to maybe, I think it's 30 was at the last count. We have already had 3 Mustang Club meetings this school year. We met August, September, and we just had one last week. So we already have had 3. And we also have a parent advisory board, of course, and we have already met for this school year as well. We did appoint 3 of our parents on the superintendent's parent advisory board, which I think is a move in the right direction. It gives the parents the voice they need. And also the Parent Academy Night that we're going to have coming up on November the 1st, as well as the community forums, curriculum nights that Nakina Middle School will host throughout the year, and a Title I Parent Night that we will host throughout the year as well. So as you can see, communication is a huge component to helping us meet all these other goals as well. Okay, goal 4, Ms. Cribb, there you are.
Our goal for Nakina Middle School for goal number 4 is staff will effectively utilize and desegregate appropriate data to evaluate program effectiveness and to inform a guided instruction practices. That will be followed up with like the EOG data, the NC check-ins, HMH assessment data, PLCs, staff meetings, professional development, classroom walkthroughs and observations, our Google Classroom expectations, and our iReady. And as y'all know, I do the iReady program at school. Also, we've already implemented our data trackers in our iReady classes already, so the kids can track their data as they come in each week. We have just finished up with our diagnostics test also, and we're working on a bulletin board now. So all the teachers and the students have a vested interest in the program where they can see what they're doing and see our growth throughout the year, and we'll be updating our board probably, we're going to do it every 3 weeks so they can see how they're growing throughout the year.
Okay, and last but not least, goal number 5 is Nakina Middle School's faculty and staff will promote social, emotional, and cultural learning through school rituals and routines to include daily announcements, school assemblies, bulletin board displays, student competitions, and award ceremonies. And we're going to accomplish this goal through, I'm currently going through the resilience and learning training, and then we'll in turn go back and present that to the staff. And that's kind of like with the adverse childhood experiences, but it also helps to build teacher morale as well because it gives us strategies to help our teachers as well. Incorporating the daily announcements, starting the day off. Sometimes it might be the afternoon before we can get the announcements made to the children, but we do try to do those. And also we do have a Kona ICE Students of the Month. We do 2 per grade level. We just recognized those. They just got put on our Facebook page today. So we do like to recognize our students for their outstanding accomplishments. We will have various award ceremonies throughout the year to celebrate our students' successes. And again, those ceremonies will bring our parents in and get increased participation there. We have our PBIS monthly rewards. Those have already been scheduled for the entire year, what we're going to be doing each month for our children. This year, we do want to incorporate something called March Multiplication Madness. It's something that I have done at other schools under different leadership in the past. It was a huge success. We know that we did not meet growth in math, and so Multiplication Madness happens during March Madness, and so it's a multiplication competition that the kids get to engage in, and it's very hyped up, and it's awesome. We're going to have various school bulletin boards in our school to help promote diversity and social and emotional learning. And our guidance counselor, Ms. Wall, she will be incorporating diversity and inclusion in her guidance lessons throughout the year. So as you can see, like I said earlier, we do have our work cut out for us, but we are a team, and none of us are as smart as all of us, so we believe in working together. And as Henry Ford said, he said, coming together is a beginning, and staying together is progress, but working together is success. And that is what we are committed to at Nakana Middle School. I'm blessed to have a great staff who is committed to doing what is best for the community and for our students. So what questions do you all have for us?
Well, I'm impressed with one thing. You changed the 5th grade from 50 minutes to 80 minutes.
Yes,
Did
sir.
you add, did they have to stay later at school?
No, and it really, for us, what I did is I started calling you Coach Edwards, and then I stopped.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So what I did is I met with the 5th grade teachers over the summer. Actually, I met with all the staff over the summer individually, but when I met with 5th grade, I had talked with them early on, and they had expressed to me, you know, we want to increase our instructional time. So we sat down together, and together along with our school secretary, she knows our schedule very well, we were able to get down together as a team, and we were able to go from 52 to 80 minutes. It was not an easy task at all.
Was anything taken away?
What did we take away, Ms. Nelson? Yeah, so what we did was their student intervention time. We were able to rework their schedule where the kids were still able to go to like the iReady lab or to guidance or to the library that would have been during that student intervention time. So the students still get that, but it wasn't like the whole 52 minutes. So we cut it back is how we came up with that.
Well, I think it's great that you did that, and I really believe that same thing will work with your 6, 7, and 8.
Yes, sir. And I'll be honest with you. So I really wanted to change for 6 through 8 this year, but after I got to looking at it and realized it's going to take me being able to watch it this year and see and getting input from my staff.
That's right.
And getting them to help me with that. And they have been great with that so far. And we already have some ideas about some things we're going to be doing differently next year, and it's only October. So they have already come to me with some really good ideas.
Where do you see Nakana Middle School at the end of the year?
Where do I see Nakana Middle School at the end of the year? I see Nakana Middle School definitely meeting growth at the end of the year. I see Nakana Middle School coming together as a team and being able to overcome some obstacles that we have faced in the past with grace.
I'm going to show my lack of intelligence on something. Define what a flipped classroom is for me.
Okay, so a flipped classroom can be done a couple of ways, but one way would be where there's students. So Dr. Meadows, she has her principals doing kind of like a flipped classroom now. So you would have the information ahead of time, and you would review that information and read that material, or watch videos or whatever it is that your teacher would have you do, and then you would come to class prepared to have discussions with your classmates and to answer questions that you already had been given about that topic.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Don't remember, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yes.
Okay?
And I think if I have learned anything within my first few months as a principal, it's that progress is slow sometimes, but progress is still progress.
That's exactly right.
Well, I can tell you one thing. as a new principal and as being a principal, relationships that you build are going to be the most important thing that you have.
Right.
And I know that this school has been great in the past, and I know it's not going to let you down. I know that. And I know you're not going to let them down.
I am very blessed to have this team with me tonight.
You are.
I am. And I appreciate every one of them.
We're blessed to have her.
Any other questions, board members?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Owen.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. And thank you to all the principals and their schools for their presentations this evening.
Ladies, has she, being an Aggie, has that hurt her or helped her any? You had window, okay, so you had an Aggie before. I know.
Understood. All right. We will move on down to, we have nothing for student support services, so we'll move down to auxiliary services.
Yep. And we're going to let, Dr. Williams is going to do this, but we're going to kind of switch the schedule a little bit just
That's fine.
So that Mr. Green and his
I
fellows
saw the
will-
guys here. I was wondering where they were on the.
There we go. We have a lot of great things going on, as you can see, but we have some going on. Most important part of the day is early on is getting the students there. And when transportation shuts down, the whole operation shuts down. So we have a great group, got a lot of good things going on. Mr. Jeff Green is our director, and he's brought some of, some of his team members with him tonight. And we're going to turn things over to him and let him talk about what is going on at the bus garage and what plans we have moving forward.
Okay, I'm like Shauna, it's my first time. It's my first time as a director, and I want to thank you for inviting us, Dr. Meadows and Dr. Williams, and allowing us to come. Tonight we do have some support. Other people that work with us had some prior engagements, and it's kind of late notice, but I want to appreciate these guys right here for coming. I got Mr. Leroy Dyson. He was a former truck driver and self-employed, and Jeff Nance was parts mechanic and motorcycle, and his brother there, Bud, parts mechanic, motorcycle. They were opposing motorcycles, I think, and you got Mr. Gary. He's hauled produce for 36 years, and they're all good guys, and I enjoy working with them. So I'm gonna try this thing.
If you just tap it.
Okay. We're going to refer to them tonight as the Columbus County Schools Pit Crew. They keep basically over 200 rolling vehicles going every day. We got over 150 buses, and we got over 50 vehicles, trucks, and cars. I don't know if you're aware of that or not, but you know, they're kind of like firemen and rescue. You take them for granted, but when you broke down the side of the road, you like to see these guys coming for you and bring you fuel.
Maybe the
Arrow up in the corner.
Is there an arrow or no?
No, you talking about moving it?
Yeah.
Just moving.
Just
One finger?
One finger and swipe.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. Just give you a little bit of background about the roles. We have Michelle Harris that's up there that does routes. Tim's the coordinator. She does the routes for Columbus County Schools and Whiteford City Schools. She does that, updates the data collection reports for us, keeps her busy, answering the phone. Bus drivers calling her, changing things. Principals calling her, said, hey, I need to drop a student. Got a cost clerk, Miss Peggy Dudley. She's in the back that does our payroll, our bills. She handles our parks accountability. And we have one shop foreman, Mr. Tony, which he's sick. He went home this morning, texted me a while ago and said he's going to go to the doctor in the morning. But he gives these guys here their assignments every day. We got 2 mechanic fuel truck drivers. That's what Mr. Gary does. He runs the route every day, hauling fuel to our buses. And we just hired a new guy, Mr. Holden Pridgeon, which is not here tonight. But we have one shop mechanic that stays in the shop all the time, but that's probably not true. He leaves once in a while, Mr. Jeff. If you see him out here early of the morning filling up the cars, don't lock him up. That's what he's doing, is he's not stealing the car. And then we have 6 route mechanics that go out. Mr. Bode and Mr. Leroy's route mechanics. They go out every day to their assigned schools. Okay. So what does it take to come to work at the bus garage? You get your CDLs, your bus license, and these are not easy tests. Bus endorsement for a wrecker. We just had a class last month where all these guys are North Carolina vehicle inspection. They've got their certifications. We have a 30-day bus inspection. You know that buses are the most regulated vehicle on the highway because of the 30-day inspection. There's over 400 items that will park a bus, and that's besides leaving oil out of it. Too many torn seats will park a bus by the inspector. These guys can tell you all kind of nightmares and all kind of things about it. But they are, you'd almost think they're upholstery guys as much as many seats as they replace when it gets cut or it gets broken. So there's a lot of things there that I'm still learning on. In fact, with the 30-day inspection, what we've started, we've done 1 round of walkthroughs. We'll call it walkthroughs so Dr. Mills will know I've learned something. And so we've walked every bus in the county at every school. I started with Michelle. She went with me, kind of teaching me what to look for. Then I took Tony with me, the shop foreman, showed me what to do, what to look for, and I've also met with some of the guys at their schools. We've logged it down, and it's the same thing that the inspector would be looking for. Now next month, the 2nd round of walkthroughs, we're going to go with the principals or their designated person, whoever has time to go. And we'll log that down so that they'll know what we're looking for. Many times, the bus drivers do not write up things because they don't want to be a bother. And what we're trying to tell them is we want you to be nitpicky so that we'll fix it, and in that way when the inspector comes, it's already fixed and we don't have a problem. And so we have 2 classifications right now of mechanics. When you start as a beginner, and I'm just going to call it beginner, general repairs, changing oil, just learning, changing tires, brakes. Mechanic 2 is diagnosed repairs, diagnosed problems, repairs from general to medium. You know, we're not getting into, he wouldn't be tearing down motors and rear ends, but the Mechanic 3 is something I would like to put into place in the future. That is the guys that we have to hire from Clark's and Gregory Poole and stuff that can come in and fix what we can't fix. And what I'd like to do is offer those certifications to these guys. Once they get those certifications, let them do this work and keep the money in the county. Because we spend a tremendous amount of money with these big companies. A little background. July the 5th, Dr. Meadows and Dr. Williams charged me to go and assess, report, and make plans for improvement. I remember that. We came to the board. I had my personal assessment, Timmy Ward and Dr. Williams. We got their input in it. I got feedback from all the staff. Every one of these guys can tell you that I went straight to them. What they told me is where we got this information from. Reported back to Dr. Meadows, Dr. Williams, and reported to the school board. And on August the 4th, y'all approved for us to make these changes. I need a certification in running this board.
I think Jonathan's the only one that's got that degree so far.
I think he's right.
We in bad shape.
These were some proposed improvements. One was air compressors in every service truck. You can see right here we've got them. They're in 5 of the 6 service trucks. The other one's sitting in the shop, just haven't been installed yet. What this does is why do we need air compressors? If you're at East Columbus and you got a tire that's slack, you've either got to back in up to a shop where you got kids working and get the shop mechanic out, or they've been driving them back to the bus garage. So now they can pump tires up, keep them up and going. They can blow out air conditioning coils. Our next step, did I go too fast? I hope. I believe I got ahead of myself.
You're okay. You're on that slide.
Okay. Well, that was not the things that we had planned. Okay, install the air conditioning in the shop. That was already being done. Can't take credit for that. Dr. Meadows and Dr. Williams has already had that going. Proposed improvements was demo the interior wall. Install a drive-on ramp and a 2-post ramp. Difference is when you drive on, you change oil in. The next one, you drive up and it lifts up under it so you can take the tires off. That's the 2 things that we really needed. Mount air compressors is here. Supply jump boxes. If you saw us the first day sending buses out, and every one of these guys had jumper cables, and they were just going from one bus to the other. I mean, it was a nightmare, really. And so Carolina Thomas parks man come in and said, I got a jump box for you. It'll crank any bus in 10 seconds. I said, if you will, give me 7 of them. And he come and he was supposed to come and demonstrate, but he still brought us 7 of them. And some of these guys here can tell you, have you used it? How long does it take? I'm talking about completely dead. And that's time, and that means a lot. And it also keeps them, you can imagine if a bus was beside the road, you got to pull up in front of it. Y'all have had to do that beside the road before, probably. And it's dangerous, and you can just go up with this one box, hit the batteries, get it going, and get off the road. This is what I was talking about a while ago, rewriting job descriptions to add certifications. I do want to, we really didn't have some specifics in it, so we want to have it so the guys can come in and know when they can move up. We're still working on that with Ms. Cassie. Build a new addition to house the offices' parks, fill all vacancies, and make Here Comes the Bus functional. This is projected building, which y'all have seen that on August the 4th, and I'll be glad to provide any type of information on that you need to, but it basically just shows where we tear out a wall, and we have, if we're going to put air conditioning in a shop, there's no need to have it if the bus is sticking out the door with the door up. So this will let us get the bus on in there, shut the doors. Our parks was right here. That's the reason we got to put parks over in another building. Okay. This is the completed work. There's a that's our jump box, air compressors. We've already talked about that. We're fully staffed. We're actually fully staffed with 1 extra coming Tuesday week. Dr. Meadows has allowed us. We came to her and said, hey, we're spending so much money with Carolina Thomas on air conditions. And as you can see, we had 54 broken air conditions when we started. We're down now to 21. That's from Carolina Thomas coming every Thursday and working on them, and cool weather's helping us out there too. What my goal is, if we can save some money by bringing a guy on to just work on air conditions every day, at worst, we will get to 0 air conditioning problems. At best, we'll get to 0 air conditioning problems and save $50,000. That's the goal. We got tire room painted, thanks to Mr. Timmy. Work on deck. As you can see, this is the tire room. If you've been in it before.
It looks a lot different than the last time I was there.
I was going to say you wouldn't recognize it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks a lot better. This is where our 2-post lift will go. So here's what we're waiting on. Randy, I figured you'd like that work on deck.
Oh, yeah.
You. Okay. Natural gas, we're waiting for natural gas to be installed. When they do that, then they can replace the outside fuel tanks, get rid of those. Once the fuel tanks are gone, the tanks that's inside the shop can go out there on those pads and give us room for the other bay. Build a new building, move the parks over in the offices, then demo the interior wall for long buses, and remodel the shop bathroom and lounge. That's what we have left to do. Okay, here comes the bus. The GPS is fully functional. Here comes the bus. It's not yet. They're not waiting on us. There's a lot of help from Adam and Kelly. All zones have been set up, and I'm going to pull it up and show it to you. All buses have been assigned, but they told us that our server had to be upgraded, and big thanks to Kelly there. Kelly, would you like to say anything about that?
Just we're waiting on Tim's to do their part before the next step for Here Comes the Bus. Do it fast. Are you trying to get to the, yeah,
Well, I have got one more minute.
okay.
Hello, Kevin.
There we go.
Yeah, just thanks for your support. I do want to, okay. Here's a little short demonstration of CalAmp, Here Comes the Bus. So somebody calls in and says, I need to know where a bus is at. I'll punch in bus number 56. This is the history of the bus of what it ran today. You see these arrows? That tells you everywhere that bus went. If you want to know the detail of it, here's when a diagnostic message is sent out every night, and I think it's about 3 o'clock when it runs. But you can see when they turned the ignition on, when they opened the door, the engine was turned on, the GPS update, and then they exited the zone. In the zone, you have to go in here and set up zones for the parking lot and zones for the school. And so when it leaves the zone and then starts its route, it gives you the update. I believe it's about every quarter mile of where it's at. And nothing else. Every time it stops, it logs it. And this goes on back, I know, for 30 days. So if you need to know where a bus has been or if it's following the routes. Now, Kelly and I were playing with this thing a while ago, and it also gives us some diagnostic readings that the guys might be interested in.
It's like columns.
Where the engine is reporting back, it gives you fault codes. It tells you the odometer. I didn't even know this till tonight, but it gives you a reading of the odometer. It gives you the battery voltage. You're dealing with voltage today, and so I'm curious about tomorrow going back and finding out. He had some problems this morning with a bus and seeing if it shows that on here. It even shows, Mr. Garrett, shows the fuel level remaining. And we didn't know that, so that's a great tool right there. Fuel level percentage, tire pressure. Now, I'm assuming that some of the newer buses reports this, some of the olders don't. Olders, I don't know where I got that from. It's a serial order term. That's a serial order term right there. As you can see, it does more right now than I realized it even done. It even tells you the driver had the seatbelt fastened. So,
Jeff, this is on our activity buses, I'm sure, too, right?
Supposed to be.
Not all of them. Not all of them. Wasn't it?
It's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be. Give me activity bus number.
80, is there 80, 50?
Yeah, you see that one everywhere.
Which one's that?
80, 56 on those.
80.
They go
That's one
everywhere.
of those,
Yeah.
Punch in 80, 56, isn't that one of the minivans?
I believe we need to put one of these on Randy's vehicle.
Only 57, 80, 57 showed up.
Dr. Meadows' car have this on?
Yes, sir.
So it does.
Yeah. We got, and.
Well, I figured as new as they were.
It's
Even,
the cameras that we don't.
even, yeah, our spare buses, some of them have it on it.
All of them are supposed to have this. It's the cameras that's not on our book.
Yeah, and fleet vehicles.
Yes.
And hopefully we don't ever need it, but, I mean, so this could help us find that bus when we're having to go find it one night at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock.
If a bus breaks down, somebody calls, hey, I'm broke down, all I got to do is pull that up and it can take you right to it.
Yes.
That's correct. As long as they don't unplug.
Can you turn it off? Can
I
you
can.
cut the bus off?
I think so.
We had that on all our vehicles, and we actually had a vehicle stolen. I watched it to the first intersection and cut the vehicle off, and the police went to it.
That'll be a question I'll ask at the next time. I'll entertain any questions y'all might have.
This is gonna save us a lot of money, potentially, isn't it? Just this system with the diagnostics and the different things that it might, those diagnostics, they can tell you something getting ready to happen before it happens sometimes.
It's possible. And also tell you, when we get to the point where the bus drivers can log on, when they get on the bus, you know, everything will be a little more accurate that way.
That's another feature. The bus drivers can sign in and sign out.
You kind of keep up with time.
Yeah, that'll be their time sheet, yes.
Jeff, I know that, you know, in past history with Tim's, you were able to, before the school year starts, are you still able to save miles in buses now when you plan routes for the year and everything? Take buses off the route and everything, and if it's planning miles before
Yes.
school?
Yes. We're kind of toying with that still.
Yeah.
And we're toying with the fact of trying to get our efficiency rating up. And but Dr. Meadows and I met with DPI on the phone, and so sometimes when we try to save money, it costs you your budget.
Oh, I understand.
So there's the slippery slope there. Yes, sir.
So I just want to say, I appreciate what Mr. Green has done, but I want to say thank you to the entire bus department, bus transportation department. I think you guys do a great job. We appreciate it. We know it's not the easiest thing to have to do, getting up so early and then having to be late, be on call. It's a tough job, but we hope that we can make the work conditions much better for you, and that you feel like you're being supported. That's really what we want from all of this that Mr. Green has been talking about.
We do, guys.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
We
thank you
really
so
do.
much.
Thank y'all for the hard work. That there's a lot of work that goes in that a lot of people don't see. I really appreciate it. And I know the staff, the students, the bus drivers, and everybody, they appreciate what you do.
Especially
They're
parents,
gonna
too.
say it a lot.
I think our goal is going to be safety.
And
That's it.
That's
That's
exactly
what
what
it's
it
all
is.
about.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Jeff.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Go enjoy the rest of your evening before you have to get up at 5 a.m.
Y'all be safe.
All right, thank you. Okay, this month we paid invoice Shawstack Design West Columbus School for September, $5,808.62. That same amount was paid in August, which is the next item B. C, $14,159.24 were paid to Shawstack. Tyne Associates, D, $23,140. E, Tyne Associates, $2,010. CLH Design, Tabor City School, $2,382. That was for when we used the football field, the old football field, as a staging area and a storing area for some soil. We had to include that in the work area for environmental, so that's what that was for. Barnhill Contracting Company of Pay Application number 17, $790,005.58. So in the way of project updates, HVAC replacements, they're finishing up at Chadbourne Elementary. They're going to Hallsborough Artesia next week. We're still waiting on equipment, the final equipment for the gym at West Columbus and or for a few other projects, but you know, equipment, I mean, it just comes in pieces, but and this is not us doing the work either. These are the contractors. K-12 Athletic Facilities Grant is still where it is. I think we have like $30,000 left, which that's going to go to build a few press boxes. We're, I I mean, we have to like 2024 to spend this money, but we need it to go ahead and do some things, so we're going to go ahead and close that on out as soon as we can. The new admin building, as you see, is looking fantastic. It's a few things to work out, but our maintenance staff, technology staff, other people have done a tremendous job, as you can see. Hopefully by next board meeting, we'll have some new furnishings to go in here, and it's going to be really nice, and we're looking forward to that. I think it's the 18th is when we're expecting our new boardroom furniture. So I'm very excited. We're very appreciative for the partnership with the sheriff and the board to make this happen. And we're all under one roof now, and everybody has been so patient with the move, and it's gone well, as you can see. And we're so extremely grateful to everyone. Dr. Meadows being instrumental to make this happen. I mean, it's just been really good. Okay, the West Columbus School. Let's skip the access door controls. They'll be here working on these tomorrow, and I'm talking about some of the things, software. East and South are going online this week. I think Williams Township and West are next. They're installing doors there. As you recall, these are the schools we ordered equipment for first, because we had the software in place for many of these schools, and the other schools will be coming shortly after with the access control. As far as the West Columbus School, we have some photos here in your thing, so we have such a big audience there. We want them to see as well. And if you stop me anywhere, of course, we know what that is. That one is good. In front. Looks really good. The columns are not painted yet. There's still doing some work on those.
So we finally got that glass in, Jonathan?
The glass. Which one?
The one on the front of the building there?
Yes, sir. This is not in yet.
Oh, okay.
This one's had to be shifted a little bit, but no, that's not quite in yet.
Okay.
Okay, mine went to the end, and I'll explain that to you when we get to that picture, okay? This is the first floor, main hallway. Let's get on through here. Sir? What'd you say?
Longer swipes.
Longer swipes. Okay, this is a science classroom upstairs. And we have two of those, one in 7th and one in 8th grade. There's a science prep room that goes with this. And this is required by DPI. They will not sign off unless these science rooms are completely equipped and furnished just like you see them. And they're coming on. This is a typical classroom. This one is upstairs. You can tell by the tectum ceiling. You can tell by, well, I can tell that's the Benton yard over there. Anyway, come on now. This is absolutely beautiful. If you see this in the daylight, this looks fantastic. This particular area right here has not received sod yet. It will. There's a grate for drainage. There's shrubbery planted down there. This will be an excellent outdoor classroom right here, because the art room and the band room is right over here. So this will make a great outdoor classroom space. Okay, come on. This is the this is the media center. Our architect loves colors. Loves all kinds of colors. Obviously, the red and the yellow aren't our school colors, but he just loves the colors. The tiles will be decorative as well. He says it gives the children something to talk about, and gives the room a lot of energy. This is simply the back patio looking from the cafeteria. There will be outdoor basketball goals here. The outdoor track is over here getting started. A walking track. It's not as big as a high school track. It's just a walking track. The large, the playground for the older students will be here. This room over here is pre-K. This is part of a new building too. This is, I can't stand up. This is the new building here. Pre-K playground would be over here. Kelly, now I can get on this wax. This is from the looking out to the bus loading area. It is just truly, I mean, the pictures don't do it justice, folks. It's going to be a fantastic building. This is from where I took this picture and walked out and took one looking back the other way. This is just a circle lot where the buses will drop off students and park. A lot of concrete going in, even so right now. This is just a picture I took looking out at the ball fields. If you look at the ball fields, just a lot of concrete, a lot of walkways, places for the bleachers to be stacked. All of this will be, of course, perfectly, it'll be landscaped, and it'll be looking really good. This is the gym, of course, and you see the basketball goals already in place. Those red air socks for the air conditioning. This is not the blue, by the way. We went round and round and round and round about the blue, because we're navy blue and gray, or navy blue is still here. This is actually, you can't tell it from the picture, this is the navy right here that we're going for. It looks really good, and they're going to repaint this wall, and that will be your navy color. That will be shown. This is the opposite side of the gym. This is where, give us about another month and a half, and you'll see some fine bleachers probably standing right here. All right, this gym, what we really like about this will be the first. Tabor City, of course, will be the second. You see this? This is a drop-down curtain, so it will go all the way to the floor, so you can actually have classes going on two different ends of the gym, and they cannot mingle. So you can have large children and small children in at the same time, and they will not mingle. Still other pictures of the gym. Okay, these are your, that's the navy blue. There's a locker room here. There's another door back here. Coach's office, storage. So go into the concession area. This is a look at the back of the gym. Well, I say the back of the gym, the side of the gym. This is behind the stage area. This is the history wall that's going to make the State Historic Preservation happy. So I'll have to get a lot of documentation here and pictures of all of this and report that back to the SHPO, so they will be satisfied. And they will sign, well, they don't really have to sign off on anything, they just want to know. This was the old Cerro Gordo school that was on top of the door. This is some of the diamond block. This is a marble plaque that was there. If we wanted to, we could put some more plaques along here. That's totally up to what we want to do. All of this, there's going to be a lot of concrete here and grass, but it'll just be a beautiful area. This is the cafeteria. Excuse me. This is the media center here. So, all right. Took a nice picture of the flagpole today. See this glass that's supposed to be glass, but it's not. It's plexi, and it is just temporary. The building is completely air conditioned now. If you go in, it's as cool as what we're in here. And they're doing that to remove the humidity, because this week they were supposed to start putting down VCT tiles. But they've had to put this in simply because they cannot get that glass. They call it window glazing. And it's that glass that looks like honeycombs inside. Supposedly you can see out, but you can't see in. It's a lot for a lot of safety and security, because these are stairwells here. And but the glass is just simply not in, and we're going to have to make some decisions before long. We're going to give it another week or so, and then to see, because we've been waiting on this a long time. Okay. All right, and this will be your bus drive coming up here on that other side I showed you. This is looking from the L building. going into the side of the, you can really see that now. See that nice insulation board looking glass stuff there. That's a new.
Hey.
Yeah, that's the new style now.
We're
gonna leave that, man.
We can sell sponsorships.
Yeah, that's right. Gonna be nice there. That's just nice. Long walkway. I'm telling you, they should not have an issue of cars stacking on the highway here, because they go all the way back to a circle drive, then they come back up, and then they unload their cars here of the morning. So even afternoon, they should be okay. This is just absolutely gorgeous, y'all. You just have to see it. You just have to see it in real life. Looking back, I showed you the picture where I was standing in here, took it with this area here is going to be sod and excellent outdoor class space, because these are your art and band rooms here. This is just a long glass walkway connecting the back of the L building that was already there. Just beautiful, beautiful. Really, I mean, kids ought to be jumping for joy to come to school here, and staff work here.
Jonathan, I'm sorry, I've noticed the L buildings, the building's already there, right?
This is it.
Yeah, those brick actually match the other brick. It's close, pretty close.
Well, here's the deal on that.
Should I ask the question, huh?
Sorry.
No. The answer is no.
I want you to know they don't. And the architect did that on purpose.
Okay.
He likes to do stuff.
Sort of contrast.
Yeah, contrast. It really does. And I asked him, because let me tell you something. The accent brick, Mr. Junior Dude, he is the one for the accent brick.
Okay.
The stripe brick. The stripe brick actually matched this building real close.
Okay.
And I asked David about that. I said, David, couldn't that be the base brick and the lighter one be the striping? You know, he kind of looks at it funny. Anyway,
I'm sure.
Yeah, he says that kind of thing gives everybody something to talk about. This is the, of course, what you see here. This is the L building coming along. This is the new walkway joining the new construction. This little right here, that is the footing for the walking track, and of course the playground will be over there, and the pre-K playground will be over here. I'm actually in the circle drive here. There's the mirror to the car. I'm actually in the circle drive, so when they drive around, I mean, there'll be some vents in here, of course, but really be something to see.
How many custodians are we going to have at that school? Do we know?
Yeah.
Well, right now there'll probably be 3 full-time.
I think that's what.
We'll start off with 3.
All right.
This is the Tabor City School from Stake Road, and this wing right here, folks, because you've got an L building that's there for it. This is the only difference between the Tabor City School and the West Columbus School, is this wing right here. And all that is that's just 10 classrooms, or give or take, for the L building. Other than that, identical plans. Cafeteria, Tecton panels are probably going up. Now, I took these pictures last week. Media Center, he's working on the sprinklers right now. That pipe there is 6-inch steel pipe for the sprinkler system. Sprinkler system has a tremendous amount of cost to the building. This is upstairs looking back toward that wing I was talking about. That takes the place of the L building. This is just the upstairs hallway. You might recognize this gable truss right here. All right.
I don't believe it has our signature.
Your
on it,
signatures
correct?
are still there. I look at them, they're still there. And so this is just simply looking back through the classrooms on the upstairs. We did have a Tectum issue, but the Tectum panels have been replaced that were a problem. There were a few little minor places that they repaired, but you can't tell it. And we look at it every time, so we're extremely David Clinton he might be the, oh man, he's very meticulous, because his name goes with it, folks, he really is. And he's working for us, and he really tries to make sure everything is right, and we do too. Got to be. This is just upstairs looking back toward the funeral home. This is the primary building that will come down. Another picture of the primary building. Where are we at now? Okay, took a picture of this. We're getting some brick laid. The brick here, different shipment, will be a little darker, Dr. Strickland. All right? And they're going to match the primary building.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
It's going to be torn down, huh?
Let me tell you something. That primary building is going to see the excavator coming up pretty quick. No, I'm afraid they got their own. Okay, they're just a little darker. This is in the gym. Okay. Stage in the gym. Their colors are purple and black. In the gym is where you would see the most of your school colors, the bleachers, the floor, stage, everything else is elementary school and middle, so the colors are a little more lively in both schools. All right. This is looking into the cafeteria. There's those guys working on that sprinkler thing. All right. That's from the cafeteria looking towards Stake Road.
John, the question is, you mentioned a while ago the drive-through, parents pick up children and everything. Yeah. Is there like a covered walkway or something there? Do you need one or what?
Well, it's going to be close. Okay. It's going to be in close proximity. Well, if you remember right there at the West Columbus School, when they come around to the front, the portico will be right there. Okay. I mean, it's like Williams Township, or right. They'll have probably 10 or 15 feet. Same thing here. The bus lot, yeah, it's like any other school. They'll probably have to walk 40 or 50 feet before they get to the code. So it's just like any other school we have. Okay.
On these buildings and stuff I had on our schools, that new schools, what kind of, I'm going to call it a warranty, but what kind of 90-day punch list, 1-year punch list? You know, like when you build a new house, you got a punch list. You got a certain amount of time that they'll come in and...
There's years on part of it, Randy. There's different stages, but some of it has years, to be honest with you. There's a lot of the L building at Saragorder that are still under warranty. If we have trouble with it today, roof, HVAC parts, some of the labor is even covered in some of it.
And at the West Columbus School, we tied into an older building. Mm-hmm. That tie-in, is it going to, we're going to have a long warranty on that?
Yes.
Just the tie-in issue, because we had that problem at Williams, where we had that leak and all that.
Well, what you have here is you got a long, basically a long glass-covered walkway. There's really no place where the building's actually in a tie. What you had at Williams Township was simply, that was new construction. That was new, and to be honest with you, it slipped right by, and they're only human. It slipped right by, but it was just simply a matter of the weep holes being one brick too high. And the water was trapped down here and couldn't get out the weep hole, so the water just sat there. Even with, and thank goodness, even with the big Ian, we didn't have any leaks reported at that area. And any other time, they would have had to mop it up. But that's all it was. Okay. But yes, sir, we do have a retainage, so we'll hold money for a while. I mean, that's their incentive to get back and fix everything to make sure. But all that's spelled out in the contract. Completion date of the West Columbus School, we're looking at realistically December. So the move in.
Hopefully be able to move in after Christmas. Is that what we're going to try to do?
Yeah. And folks, all it is just things like the glass, What we're waiting on right now is a communicator for the fire alarm. And when we're dealing with Honeywell, we realized that wasn't going to happen, so they found a comparable part. But still, the earliest it's going to get in is going to be the second week in November, which they won't let you put furnishings in until the fire alarm's in place. All right, so I pushed them back. It takes them 2 weeks to get furnishings situated and arranged, put in place. So, but just keep in mind, we're under contract. The contract was February, so we're still well ahead of schedule. And as you know, it's to the great advantage of the contractor to finish as early as possible to make money.
What's the projected date for Tabor City?
Tabor City is May
23.
Yes, sir.
It's coming up May.
May and June, yes, sir.
So
we'll start.
We'll start next
check-
school year there, and you know, really, I think moving in the west school after Christmas, that's probably be best.
Yeah, I think so
Not
too.
moving in the middle of the week.
Well, and those is just those kind of things. I know it's a broken record, but it's just real. That's just the world we live in right now. And the Tabor City School, we're hopeful just to move, because you know that phase 1. Well, this is actually phase 2, but the next phase will be to tear down the primary building. But all the thing, we're going to move out there to the teachers and a little bit of technology, and then it's coming down because parking lot will go there. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Dr. Williams.
You're welcome.
All right, so our general items, the first one is that we did Mr. Phipps did our auction for the sale of the quitclaim property that we had on Desi Road. Mr. Phipps, we had one bidder, and it was for $2,500, so I'd recommend that the board approve the sale of the 545 Desi Road for $2,500.
You've heard the recommendation from the superintendent that we approve the sale of the property at 545 Desi Road in Chadbourne for a sum of $2,500. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Motion by Dr. Strickland, second by Mr. Coleman. Any discussion? All in favor of said motion, let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Phipps. Next item is to approve the advisory council members for Mr. Edwards. I would recommend that the board approve these advisory council members.
Heard the recommendation from the superintendent that we approve the advisory council members for Mr. Edwards. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Long, second by Mr. Coleman. Any discussion? All in favor of said motion, let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, Mr. Chairman, we had one person who had asked not to serve on the advisory council at this time, and so we're just letting you know that that person has been removed from the advisory council list. The next one is that Ms. Gerald had asked to add a fundraiser for Nakina. She realized that they had done it last year. She just realized they did it last year, and so it's my recommendation that we allow them to add this fundraiser to their list for this school year.
You've heard the recommendation for the superintendent that we add the fundraiser or approve the additional fundraiser request for Nakina Middle School. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Long. Second by Mr. Edwards. Any discussion? All in favor of said motion, let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, the next one, you had approved the testing calendar previously. There are a couple of changes that teachers have asked for us to make, one with math check-ins and one with biology check-ins. So I'd ask that the board approve I'd recommend that the board approve the revised testing calendar for those things, the check-ins for math and biology.
You've heard the recommendation from the superintendent that we approve the revised testing calendar for this school year. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Edwards,
Second.
second by Mr. Long. Any discussion? All in favor of said motion, let it be known by the sign of aye.
Oh.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right. The next item is our strategic plan. You know that we were identified, unfortunately, as a low-performing district. And so we have to submit a plan to the state for our district. As we discussed after, 2 months ago, that we would make revisions to our strategic plan to address those things that we needed to address in our testing data. The biggest thing was in terms of math instruction. Our literacy, the reading scores, they had improved. Most areas we met growth. Math, we did not. We improved proficiency, but we did not meet growth in math. So we've gone back. I'm not going to ask you to approve this tonight. We'll do that at the November meeting because we'll put this out for public input as well. You'll see when you go through here, the strategic plan is the same except for where you see the highlights. Those are the changes that we've made. So if you go to slide 9, you'll just see that we, at this point, we added some things also, just changes that were made to the strategic plan, not necessarily having to do with the low performing, but doing it all at one time. So we have, we've been doing training with, on resiliency with 3 schools. It was with 3 schools. It was with Tabor City Middle, Evergreen, and Chadbourne. We are now West Columbus School, both Tabor City schools, Chadbourne, they're still doing it. But we also added a district resilience leadership cohort. So we're doing training with administrators, school level, principal, assistant principal, and district staff for those who wanted to. So it actually is touching almost all schools besides just those schools that were involved as a school level. So that's something that we've added. We also are having, all of our staff is having to do the mental health for the sex trafficking, sexual abuse training. All staff are having to go through that. So we added that. And we do that, it's 6 hours, 2 hours alternating every other year. And then crisis interventions utilizing tabletop exercises for all schools. Right at this point, we're part of the active shooter thing that's supposed to happen in December with our staff being involved in that. Whoops. There was some there was a change in here, I thought. So we added the teacher, oh, here it is. This is the teacher cadet program, trying to give some more, career opportunities, pathways. So we added teacher cadet program at each one of our high schools, the partnership with the community college and the university to try to grow our own teachers. So we have students involved in teacher cadet. And we do have, for the year, we should end up with probably somewhere around 40 to 50 students who will have participated in teacher cadet this year when we get to the end of the year. You will see in community engagement, we removed this. It just didn't seem feasible, the parent visitation days. It was just too much. I think Kelly's eyes were bigger than the time we had. So we said, let's table this one, take it out of the strategic plan for right now. We'll come back to it at a later date if it's something we can fit in. We had talked about schools establishing PTOs. Some of them have done that, but some have said it's very difficult for us to establish an actual parent-teacher organization. So we said an advisory would work as well. as long as you have some process set up for parent and teacher, some sort of parent-teacher organization. We had our first parent advisory council meeting last week for the district-wide. All schools submitted 3 names of parents, and we had a meeting here, and we'll do that monthly as our plan.
How was attendance on that?
It was pretty good, I thought.
20, 24?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so there were only 33 that were submitted,
Yep.
so I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, we're good. Good.
Yeah. I thought it was a good, open, honest conversation that we had about things. We also talked about digital signage, and that was another thing that we said, I don't know, digital signs sometimes are just a problem. You put them up and then they don't work. But we also are talking about digital signage within the schools. So we're working on something with that, but we took it out because we're not sure if we can make it happen with the cost. And this one was on websites, teacher websites. It just has not been the best. Teachers having individual websites, they don't stay up to date, and so we felt like that was not a direction to put our efforts in.
And parents are able to keep up with Google Classroom, which we are doing a much better job with. So.
Yeah, that's really where they get their teacher information, is from the Google Classroom. So then in terms of what really is about the low-performing district, those were edits to the plan, but this is about our math, really our math instruction. So we had talked about doing math foundations training, which is helping teachers to see the concepts versus the algorithms as much. And we were going to start that last year, K-8. But then, remember, our pre-K-5 teachers went through science and reading training, and we knew we couldn't do both. It would just be too much. Because this is 5 days of training over the course of a semester, because there's stuff that they do in between those 5 days of training. So what we're going to do this year, we're going to do it for middle school. Middle school teachers will do math foundations training. Next year, elementary will. This year, all K-12 teachers will do professional development on number talks, which is about getting them to have to develop students' number sense, helps them to communicate about math. The more you can speak about it, the better you can understand it. That is one of the highest levels of being able to learn something, is when you can talk about it and you can explain it. So number talks is something we're going to do professional development with all teachers that teach math this year. Those were just some edits that because of things that we did this year. We also, this was the other part of the TSI. There is another part of math in here. Oh, it's here at the end. So we also are going to do some lesson study kind of processes for math. So teachers we're going to take those teachers who have been really successful with math, use their lessons to share with those who are maybe struggling somewhat. But while doing that, the teacher who is developing the lesson will help that person to understand why they're doing what they're doing. So it's really a lesson study for that person who is trying to develop their skills and their understanding of how to teach. We also have talked about, we're getting the new equipment that a teacher could actually teach the math lesson while the teacher who's learning would watch through their lens of how they taught it and why they taught it. They would see the reactions from the students, kind of like a virtual reality kind of experience. See what they see from the students, the responses they get from the students, and why they're responding that way. And then after that, have conversations about the actual lessons that took place. So really trying to develop the teacher's understanding of the instructional components within that lesson. This one is about the TSI schools. Schools that are designated as TSI, we have to have something in our plan about those particular schools. Being TSI means that they have a subgroup that did not perform as well as expected. And we have 2 schools. One has with students with disability, and with Black students. So this is about really targeting, having them receive this. The staff actually will receive differentiated professional development around MTSS so that they can differentiate within the classroom for those subgroups of students. So that's what the plan is about, and basically the changes that we have made in the plan at this point.
Okay.
Trying to target the things, the reasons why. It's like gum or something. Targeting the things that we needed to within our, based on our test scores. So any questions about what I have shared? I tried not to share too fast, but I know I can talk fast. No? Okay. So we will post it out there for the public to give us input. And then at the November meeting, when we hear from the other 4 schools, we'll ask you to approve the strategic plan with the changes and the school improvement plans of the 8 schools that were identified in low performing. Okay. All right, just a couple of things on for update. Just so you know, we have 1,500 hotspots that we received in partnership with T-Mobile. And so they are available. We do have a process that Kelly is using for getting those out. Obviously, those areas that don't have internet would be first. And then they're working through, basically based on need, where to share those. Is there something online, Kelly, where the people can submit, or is it just through the school?
Right now, it's just through the school.
So,
It's zero cost to us.
Yeah. All right. At our November board meeting, I would like to do an open house, kind of ribbon cutting ceremony for this building. At that point, we'll have our board meeting furniture in place, should anyway, and so we can do a little, gathering from like 5 to 5:30, and then have our board meeting, if that's all right. And then Jamie alluded to this. The high schools, all 4 of our high schools, are going through accreditation this year. And what that means is that from now until February, that's when they have to submit everything. They're collecting data, they're analyzing what's happening in their schools to submit to Cognia, the accrediting agency. There will be parent surveys, community surveys that will go out at the end of this month to the beginning of November. And we need people to respond to the surveys. They have to have a certain percentage for it to count. And so we need people to participate in that process. They do walkthroughs. They look at different data sources to try to see and show where their school is in terms of progress. But it also is an improvement process as well, to analyze using a different kind of a rubric than maybe what is in NC STAR, where the other schools are using the needs assessment. It's a different type of needs assessment for them to kind of analyze and see. But they'll all be fine, I'm sure, but it is a lot of work for the school to go through that.
Is the accreditation agency still Advanced Ed, or has it changed?
It's changed names. It's still the same group. It's went from SACS to Advanced Ed to Cognia now. Yeah, yeah. All right. That's all of my updates, unless anybody has a question.
I don't.
All right. You can see all of the things on the calendar. And I don't think Jay has anything for finance. So I guess we just need a motion for closed session.
I move that Columbus County Board of Education go into closed session for the purpose of discussing information that is privileged, confidential, or not a public record under General Statute 143-31811.
Second. You've heard the recommendation, or we have a motion from Mr. Coleman for closed session, second by Mr. Edwards. All in favor of moving into closed session, let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Jeff texted me, he wanted me to tell you that he did.